Hey guys, what's up? JK with PornReboot here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the root cause of your porn addiction, or to be more accurate, why the so-called root cause of your porn addiction might not be as important as you think it is. There are quite a few men who struggle with an out-of-control sexual behavior, specifically with pornography or masturbation, who truly believe that if they figure out what the root cause of their addiction is, what the underlying issue is, that somehow they will be able to end their behavior. And this is a fallacy on so many levels. First of all, one of the things I've noticed is that this can serve as a cop-out, an excuse to not put in the work that needs to be put in, because you don't really want to accept the fact that work needs to be done. Like it or not, your brain has been rewired by repeated exposure to high-speed internet pornography. And wiring it back to being normal again doesn't happen by simply uncovering the root cause of your addiction. It's not as if there's going to be some spontaneous change, some mutation, and then you're just going to be fine. No, that work needs to be put in. In some cases, you may need accountability. You're going to have to stay off pornography. You're going to have to control or completely stop masturbating for a period of time. You're going to have to set boundaries with different things that cause stimuli that can lead you back to acting out. These are the things that you have to do, and they take time. If you're struggling with some sort of erectile dysfunction, porn-induced erectile dysfunction, well, it's going to take time and patience and coping skills to manage your emotions to last long enough without pornography for your PIED to be reversed. And this takes work. And I get it. Sometimes it's just challenging. Sometimes you slip a couple of times because you don't have the right mindset. You don't have a mindset of wins. You don't have the mindset of a reboot being a process and not something that's about perfection. You're still slipping and beating yourself up and starting your count again from day one, which you'll know if you've been following me for any amount of time. You'll understand that we don't do counting at PornReboot. I'm against that. I don't think that's helpful. So it's easier, of course, to focus on the root cause. Now, I'm not saying that whatever it was that you are medicating with pornography is not important. I do think it's important to find out what it is. But in the meantime, there are things in your life that your porn and masturbation addiction is affecting. Things that are more urgent, that need to be dealt with right now. Perhaps you have issues with focus. Perhaps your PIED is threatening your relationship. Perhaps you are medicating some very strong emotions, like anger or loneliness, with your porn addiction. Sometimes this mindset of I need to find out what the root cause of my addiction is can complicate things which are quite simple. I'll give you an example. A guy is lonely, okay? Has a need for intimacy. And it has nothing really to do with his porn addiction. He just happens to be a shy, awkward, perhaps introverted guy who experienced a series of rejections. And he internalized those rejections. Nothing deep, nothing that even needs therapy. He could read a book, he could be around the right individual, he could speak to the right mentor, but the resources are out there to help him. But he also has a problem with pornography, which isn't based on some sort of trauma or unresolved issue from the past. His issue with pornography is he's just a guy who watched pornography, exposed himself over and over again to high-speed internet porn, and in the process rewired his brain. Now, that's it. Nothing nothing complex. But he does some reading. He finds out the amount of work that it takes to rewire his brain. And he's not too thrilled about that. So he doesn't acknowledge that. But he knows that he's lonely. And he goes like, man, this isn't cool. Like, something's wrong here. You know, I'm lonely. Everybody's dating somebody. I can't seem to find anyone. I dated this girl once and she broke my heart. And, you know, when I reach out to women, they reject me. I think there's some sort of issue there. You know, and then you start going back into your past and you suspect that there might be some issue because you heard somebody talk about the root causes of porn addiction. And then you start creating this story that something about the way you were raised, something about your rejections, something related to that is the root cause. And if you could somehow go back into the past and analyze that and make your peace with it, that you would stop watching pornography. Now, sometimes I'll talk to a man like that. He'll be like, well, JK, you know, sometimes I think back to my ex-girlfriend who broke up with me. I'll think back to some of the rejections that I had in the past, and I get down on myself. You know, and that makes me act out. I'm like, okay, I can teach you a coping skill for that. Yeah, but I really think I need to get to the root cause of that, you know. I'm like, but right now, in this very moment, you are not functional. You're not a functioning man in society because of your porn addiction. Why don't we learn how to manage your addiction in the moment? Like right now. Why don't you learn how to manage it? And perhaps when you learn how to manage it and your brain starts rewiring, you have a little bit more confidence. You have more wins because instead of failing and slipping all the time, you're no longer doing that because you have coping skills. Whatever pain you may have from the past is still there, but now you're not reacting to it. You are responding by using the appropriate tools, by using the appropriate coping skills. Now you can become a functional member of society. Your life is not cloudy and foggy. You have more clarity. With clarity, with a clear mind and control over your behavior. Control. I didn't say that you're fully recovered. I said you have control over your behavior. Now you can start looking at some of the issues that you may have from your past. And here's something that might surprise you. Many men who accept that, okay, you know what? I will commit and I will go through the reboot process. I will give it time. I will set boundaries. I will be accountable. I will learn the right coping skills. I will change my community, my environment. I will get some sort of mentorship. I will change my biochemistry and understand how it works. And I will do that for months or commit to a year or 2 years. Many men that do that come to realize in that process that there is no root cause because their brains rewire, or because they simply achieve a level of peace and equanimity in their life that they have never had. And they're like, what's the point in going for the root cause? I'm so happy. I'm now in a relationship. I'm now social. I now wake up and don't have that feeling of depression. I now have a healthier self-image because for a year and a half, for 2 years, I have been winning. I've been controlling something in my life that was out of control. This is one of the ways that we complicate issues, because it is very challenging to think clearly about something that is a root cause when you are struggling with an out of control sexual behavior. Now, you can go visit with a therapist and make progress. And that is absolutely fine. However, I encourage you, while you're visiting with a counselor or a therapist, and that is very helpful. I recommend it even for guys who don't have any issues. Just with a good therapist, you can learn a lot. I think it's a method of personal development. But while you're doing it, do not neglect the science of rebooting. Do not neglect the fact that your brain can rewire. All right, and that takes work. So be wary of using this whole root cause of your porn addiction as an excuse. The most lost kind of man is the man who, once in a while, I'll run across brothers like this, who they have all the tools that they need to recover, everything that you need. But they are so obsessed with finding the root cause that they have created in their mind this hole, this belief and this self-image, not self-image, but this belief that something within them is missing. They're like, something is missing. I feel like something is missing. That's why I keep slipping every day. But I'm like, but why aren't you using the tools? Why aren't you staying accountable? When I start digging, because I'm like, you're not just slipping. You're using a system. If they're using my system, you're using a system. You should not even be able to access pornography in the first place. So why are you not using those tools? I accept the fact that perhaps you have something missing, but why can't you just use the tools? Oh, it's just, I get so overwhelmed. All right? And don't get me wrong, guys, okay? For those of you listening to this, I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just using this as an illustration to kind of show you how sometimes we can have thinking errors and fool ourselves, okay? So I ask, despite the fact that you feel like something is missing, you have the accountability, you have the boundaries, physical boundaries, you have the coping skills and the tools, and you have been trained to use them. So why did you not use them? And the answer I usually get back is that I got overwhelmed. Just when it's that moment, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, well, remember we trained you that how to identify what your trigger is, so how to identify your pain before it happens. So let's pick this specific situation. You were at work and you got a little bit frustrated, and you were aware, right? You texted your accountability partner. Yeah, I texted my accountability partner and told them that I was frustrated. I was like, okay, and the emotion continued throughout the day? Yeah, JK, it did. It continued. All right, and did you use any coping skill later? No. I was like, well, why? Well, I just started thinking about my loss. I started thinking about my ex, and whenever I get frustrated, I start thinking like that. Let me tell you what's going on with this guy right here. What is happening with him is he has all the tools. He has all of those things. But he has built a habit of always running back to that excuse of something deeper being the issue. He's not failing in the program or in following the system. He has the tools, and he'll use them. Like in this case, he reached out to the accountability partner. Maybe when he first came into the program, he didn't. He just went straight back to like, oh, the root causes. That's why it's out of my control. So at every stage in his recovery, he sabotages it because of this belief, and he keeps going back there. Of course, if I'm his coach, patiently, we'll keep taking him back. I'll walk him through each of those stages, and I'll show him how he might be sabotaging his recovery at every turn. But that is what he's doing. He keeps sabotaging it because he keeps believing that whatever the deep issue is, he believes that is bigger than any tool that can help him. He still has some hope. That's why he's in the program in the first place. So I hope this is making sense. I'm rambling a little bit. I'm supposed to be running an errand somewhere. So brothers, yes, many men have pain that is due to trauma, abandonment, neglect, sexual assault, physical or verbal abuse. All kinds of trauma can put us in a situation where we act out sexually with porn or masturbation. And I do not want to make light of that. And if you're one of those people who struggles with that, the PornReboot system can help you in terms of the systems and what you need to do day by day. But the deeper work will probably be best done in a therapeutic group setting or with a qualified and experienced therapist, a counselor. For many of you, your root issue is not as big a deal as you think it is. And sometimes, no offense guys, sometimes it doesn't exist. Sometimes we call it the root cause of our porn addiction, but it isn't. I hope that makes sense. Let's continue the discussion in the comment section. I'd love to know what some of you guys' thoughts are on this issue. Really want to hear what you guys think about this. All right, thank you for listening. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And if you're looking for support, the best place to start is our free Facebook group, link in the description below. If you're wondering what the PornReboot system is about, and you're like, JK, I want to find out what it's about, dude, but I don't want to sit in no long training or anything like that, then download my ebook. It's in the link is in the description below. I don't know how many pages it is. It's like 14 or 19 pages. Go through it. It breaks down my system. It's what hundreds of my clients have used over the past 7 years to control their out of control behavior with porn and masturbation. And in our Facebook group, you can also get yourself an accountability partner. I respond to a lot of questions via video, not just typing, and I'll respond to you directly because you deserve it. All right. I know there's a lot of people who have questions, and you may not be able to work with me one-on-one. My schedule is full, but I'll be happy to communicate with you more directly within the group. All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye.